All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's your favorite sorcerer here, Michael Hyson, also known as Angelus Son of Abaddon. Over the last week or so, I've done some videos on spiritual attacks, things on calling people out upon spiritual gnosis, such as claiming to be or to have worked with, say, Lucifer or Satan, and while working with, say, Jehovah. The JCI aspects, which really doesn't bode well for that individual, but it's basically the cancellation of energies. All right. Um, so over the last few years, I've discussed a little bit about what's going on with my family. Um, I've even done a video on this, kind of describing a little bit about being persecuted for having a small misdemeanor type activity in your background, to say having something or being judged for your background, I should say, to what you can do from a legal point of view, and kind of just discuss basically a little bit about my family's life within the last couple of years and what we've had to put up with. Well, I've been doing a lot of meditating. I've been doing a lot of contemplation, a lot of research, and tonight I went in with a how should I say this? It's more of an open mind. You know, I removed my glasses, left them on my dresser. I turned off the lights in the apartment, went into my altar room, lit the candles, lit the incense, had the protector in front of the skull, and I called forth Hecate, goddess of witchcraft, ghosts, the underworld, justice. Erishkigal, Persephone, Persephone, Isis, the goddess aspect of the feminine divine in this case. And I just started talking to her, openly while I was looking at the personal sigil of Valak, which was still on my altar. And I found it interesting because I found my eyes kind of getting heavy. In some cases, I kind of just went into a meditative state, almost like a out of body experience, kind of like a astral journey. And I kind of just said, I've pulled out all my tricks. I've done, I've called on demons, the demons. I've called upon the cocoa demons. I've called upon the gods, such as Osiris, the god of iniquity, to the goddess of justice. Called up, I haven't worked with Athena, but who's the goddess of wisdom and warfare. The three faces of Morrigan in Norse mythology. I've worked a lot with the enlighteners, the educators. I've called upon the divisions and the orders, all within the last few months. Trying to figure this stuff out. And the only thing that keeps coming back is my family is underneath a spiritual attack. There is a traitor in the midst. So I sat there and I communed with Hecate tonight as dusk fell, as the nighttime came on, and I just sat there, Indian style, in my chair, completely relaxed, just talking, and then just listening. I spoke my piece, the candles were going, I was listening to the crackling of the wick, sound and the smell of the incense, sandalwood and dragon's blood burning. And it felt like this weight had been lifted off my shoulders. Like I had just separated from this torment and what was going on. And then I saw a lone a spider on my left leg, the pant leg. Of course, instinct took over and I just brushed it away, type thing, but there was nothing there. It was just a spiritual formulation or manifestation of a spider. And I remember two things going off in my mind. Number one, the witch's curse involving spiders, but also the good things, because spiders are both can be baneful, but also beneficial to a practitioner. For an example, when we look at Croatian, it is a curse that utilizes spiders to condemn an individual. Whereas in the beneficial capacity, spiders have been utilized and looked at as omens throughout the world's mythology. In Greece, you have Athena, who was against or in a contest against Arachne. Okay, Arachne, the goddess, the spider goddess, who claimed that her weaving was superior to that of Athena. Eventually, Athena admitted that Arachne's weaving was indeed superior. And when Arachne tried to commit suicide after being cursed, being attacked by Athena, Athena turned the noose into a web and turned Arachne into the spider goddess. The Hopi, Native Americans, look at the spider as the female mother goddess spider, the creator of the first humans. The world over, you see various formulations of what spiders represent. For an example, I mentioned omens. It means a good day, that money is coming your way. But like I said, it could also be baneful, depending upon what's going on. Now, the fact that I felt a shift, like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders, was very interesting. Perhaps it was because I finally got it off my chest and just asked for help. I've been dealing with this for 2 years, trying to protect my family, trying to get us out from underneath everything that's going on. I've used every trick I know, every magical spell, from reversals to return to sender, right down to cleansings and banishing rituals. I can't tell you how many times I did this over the last 2 years, but it didn't work. I've even inquired from other practitioners. What is your view on spiritual attacks and how to find a traitor in your midst? Now, as for the traitor in the midst, I have my sneaking suspicion I know who it is. It's one of two that I've narrowed it down to. The only two individuals that's in my life, in the family's life, that could be causing this amount of trouble. You know, taking the information they're learning and putting it in the hands of somebody more experienced. But as for the psychic attacks, the spiritual warfare that is played upon spirituality, physical manifestations within reality, from being exhausted, the lack of sleep, to deterioration of, say, your teeth, maybe financial loss, to not benefiting in a magical sense. There's so many different aspects of spiritual attacks that play a huge part in magic. You can look up Sumner Dreadwood's books, his videos on YouTube on spiritual warfare. When I watched these after my brother sent them to me, it really hit very close to home. And it got me thinking everything that's been going on over the last 2 to 3 years. In fact, it's been a lot longer because I've been having to fight my entire life, but more so just within the last 2 to 3 years. It's like no matter what direction you turn, there it is. There's some form of affliction. You take one step forward and about 100 steps back. And you just can't get out from underneath that weight no matter what you do. So tonight, like I said, I went in, I lit the candles, lit the incense, called upon the goddess of witchcraft within her many formulations and manifestations, from Erishka Gal, Persephone, Hecate. Hecate herself is a very older goddess. She basically predates that of the Olympian gods in Greek mythology. So, I mean, she's an ideal candidate to call upon for a dark goddess. Now, when this spider manifested, it was just sitting just above my kneecap on the inside of the thigh, about halfway between the thigh muscle and that of the hamstring. But I had a good look at it before I flicked it. It was more of a reaction than a thought form. I had forgotten that I was in a meditative state. I had forgotten that I was in my altar room, so when I saw it, it was a quick brush off. But it was the size of a wolf spider. So I started digging into the thoughts of spiders and venoms and poisons, things that can be utilized both in baneful and beneficial means to the actual meaning of an animal guide. And to see where this took me was very enlightening. When we think of curses, we think of Croatian, not Croatoan. Croatoan is something completely different, and a lot of people get that mixed up. Croatoan is a virus that is said to manifest like Roanoke, the city, the lost tribe that just vanished off the face of the earth. Whereas Croatoan, whereas is something completely different. You have Croatian and then you have Croatoan. Croatoan is the virus. The Croatian is a curse that is physically manifested, utilizing spiders as a way to control an enemy. It's used to wear down an enemy, even to haunt their dreams, even put them into a catatonic state. It can even be used to condemn an enemy. And I started thinking about Carnell Whispers. I started thinking of profane seals. I started thinking about the towers surrounding necromancy from the Magigeran Cabal system, and how one particular tower deals with shadowmancy, deals with poisons and venoms, basically the herbalism of poisons, curses, and pain and suffering, death and undeath, basically. And it's like, son of a bitch. All of this is coming down, and more is becoming aware. It's being revealed slowly. Like the more you write down in your journal about what's going on, what you've had to deal with from your day to day afflictions to the things you see while you're in the altar room, the inner sanctum, you're seeing more being manifested, made visible within your summonings, your conjurations, through working with these beings, no matter if it's the daemon, the coco daemon in Greek mythology, the Greek definition, to that of, say, the manifestation of the various different gods and goddesses, either light or dark, within the various different traditions and pantheons. No matter if it's Hinduism or Egyptian, Greek, Roman, Norse, Germanic, Indo-European, even it doesn't really, even Slavic traditions. It doesn't matter. It's there. But spiders are also spiritual guides. And to see one of these beings, these little omens, these little awesome creatures manifesting on my leg. On one hand, like I said, it's that visible reaction, that physical reaction where it's like, get the fuck off me, but then you think about it, it's like, wait, there was nothing there. And now you have to sit there and figure out, why was it just sitting there? What was its person? Why did it come to me? Why was it made visible? So now you got to sit there and do the research. You got to find out what that type of spider, means, what it represents from various different cultures, from Native Americans as the Hopi, for an example, the arachnid of the female goddess, the creator, to say, for an example, the opponent to Athena, down to the omens of financial benefits and such. But then you got the spiritual guide, and you got to figure it out. So you got to tap into that energy, and you can do that through meditation, visualization, the idyllic memory of visual replaying in your mind, your third eye, your mind's eye, that you can literally, like a DVD player, play back and forth. You could pause it, you can move it forward and backwards. I do this all the time at work when I go out back, and it's like, crap, with how busy we are, what did I come out back for? It's the exact same thing, and you just got to close your eyes and play it back in your mind. See it visually. Slow it down so that you're able to see frame by frame. And then it hits. Same exact thing applies in your magical practice. And in this case, I know the type of spider, but now I got to figure out what it means. Why was it there? Why am I being shown this? And I'll keep you up to date on it as time goes by. But I wanted to share with you this video because it is a part of the spiritual warfare videos and the art of war. Because a lot of people don't realize that you're not just dealing with the afflictions from the JCI. In my case, my son's mother's family is Baptist. So they really are JCI members, okay, of a certain division. And they really hate me in particular because I'm not a Christian. I am a sorcerer. But then you've got other sorcerers who have a tendency to come at me because I put them in their place, or I've shown them up, or they're just trying to make a mark for themselves, one or the other. So you really got to put up wardings, you got to put up protections, but you've also got to understand what's going on and be aware of your surroundings, the energies inside and outside yourself. So you really have to understand what you're doing, and the mechanisms behind sorcery in itself. Hey, Lilith and Waldo, what's going on? So yeah, that's just the latest development within what I'm going through. Okay, but I wanted to share with you some personal experiences, and through my last few videos, I've really touched upon what's going on in my personal life, that of my families. And I really wanted to show you that there are sources out there that you can turn to. But you got to awaken your spiritual senses. Kundalini and chakra workings really help. Sitting in silence, doing evocations or invocations, even conjurations. No matter if you're doing necromancy, shadowmancy, um, calling on the gods and goddesses, the angels and the demons, you know, from say the Greek mythology, the Greek definition, you can really work with them, build up that relationship. It takes time and it takes effort, but eventually you're going to have that rock solid relationship with them so that you're able to call upon them and they're willing to help you, but they're not going to do everything for you. You got to remember that, like a parent, eventually they're going to cut that umbilical cord and you're on your own. They could show you the door, but you have to be the one to walk through it. And with that said, you've got to look at everything by opening up and growing and evolving. It's called evolution for a reason. It's enlightening yourself and you're working, strengthening those bonds. And in this case, working with the Da'ath energies, such as working with Hecate, you can see things because they'll show you visions or they'll just manifest something in your way, like, say, a wolf spider. And then it's kind of like that physical reaction, like, shit, type thing. And it's like, wait, are you showing me this for a reason? Okay. But it did get two things in my mind: Croatian and Croatoan. The two aspects, the polar opposites, the venom and the spiritual guide. So now I've got to figure out, where was this going? Will they show it to me again at a later date? And if so, will I be patient enough not to react the way I did? That way, more can be revealed. That it is, Lilith. Meditation is very important. But as Waldo also has said, brainstorming is also equally important. You got to brainstorm upon what you think, what you saw, what you felt. Be open and honest within your journals, your grimoires. How did it make you feel? How did you react? Why did you react in that manner? What was it about what you saw that made you react in such a manner? What did it mean? So, yes, brainstorming and meditation is very important. Correct. We do have to do what's best for our families and ourselves. That is something that's very, very important. But I wanted to take that few minutes to really just update you on what's going on. It's been one hell of a week, so I really haven't had much time to sit there, relax, meditate, and focus upon what's been going on in my life. All right. So until next time, I'm Angelus, son of Abaddon. I hope this has been enlightening. Hope it's been educational. And until next time, have a good night.